At the end of each year, Sports Illustrated puts out one of its most heavily debated issues, the Sportsperson of the Year Award. It's one I anticipate with the giddiness of a child before a birthday. I try to predict the winner and then argue with anyone willing to listen as to the merits and oversight of the final selection. 2015 was especially exciting because for the first time in over 30 years, there was a real chance that an individual woman could win the honor. Serena Williams had just put together one of the best years of competition tennis had ever seen, coming up just one match shy of a coveted Grand Slam, where a player wins all 4 Grand Slam titles in 1 year. To see a woman grace the cover of a magazine that largely reserves its cover status for scantily clad women in a swimsuit would be exciting. To see a woman win Sportsperson of the Year would be enthralling. And so I waited, with some skepticism, that Sports Illustrated would allow a female athlete entry into a male-dominated arena. But it happened. In December of 2015, Williams won the honor and graced the cover. As I raced to see something that hadn't happened since 1983, I tried to picture what the cover would look like. A strong woman dominating her sport with determination and ferocity in her eyes, a shining example to young girls of what is possible when you ignore the haters and lean into what makes you different. And then I saw the cover, and I thought, here we go again. Williams posed on a royal throne wearing a black unitard, wearing stilettos, posing with her legs slightly splayed, one draped over the front of the throne and the other draped to the side. In comparison, the following year's winner, LeBron James, appeared on the cover in a white turtleneck under a white blazer, eyes gazing off to the side and a welcoming smile on his face. The contrast between the two covers perfectly illustrates how women, no matter how successful or powerful they become, constantly live under the male gaze. Louder Than a Riot, a podcast that deals with issues in the hip-hop music community, bills itself as an investigation into how double standards have become the standard, defines the male gaze as the idea that everything women do is in the eyes of what cis straight men want to see. In the case of Sports Illustrated, well, it can give a female athlete an athletic award so long as she conforms to what the male gaze wants her to be. LeBron James, he can win the same award and appear buttoned up and dignified. But let's not limit ourselves to glossy magazine covers. After all, Rodney Carmichael, the host of Louder Than a Riot, notes the male gaze is a shapeshifter, a slithery trickster, and it polices in ever-changing ways. Take commercials disguised as avenues for female empowerment. Dove Soap launched a Real Beauty campaign in 2006, featuring women of all different shapes and sizes, with executives bragging about expanding the narrow definition of female beauty. But at the end of the day, it was still naked women selling a product. The male gaze had won again, but this time, women had fallen for it, lauding a company for daring to show so-called plus-size women in little to no clothing. And that's the most dangerous part about the gaze. It doesn't care whose eyes it's looking through. The very women being exploited by it will fall for the misdirection and support its products nearly every time. Remember Super Bowl 54, the halftime show featuring Shakira and Jennifer Lopez? The talk the next day praised how a woman in her 40s and a woman in her 50s could put on such a great show and look so good. The New York Times ran an article the next day entitled "The Power of 50" and asserted that Lopez's performance proved the adage, "dress your age has no meaning," as she danced around in a barely there Versace bodysuit. I've seen every Super Bowl halftime show since it became must-see entertainment, and I don't recall U2 frontman Bono in see-through clothing, or Bruce Springsteen dancing around a stripper pole. Their age has nothing on us moment was never defined by a gaze. Just as Dove soap changed the conversation to all different shapes and sizes, the NFL focused on all different ages and demographics. So long as those more diverse shapes and sizes and ages and demographics still gave the male gaze something to look at. It looked right at us, and we looked the other way. So how does this keep happening? It's actually nothing new. Daniel Efron, an economist and social scientist for the London Business School, coined the expression moral licensing, a phenomenon where past good deeds will liberate individuals to engage in behavior that is immoral, unethical, and otherwise problematic. It's how Mary Slaney won Sportsperson of the Year in 1983, but then we had to wait another 32 years for an individual woman to win that honor. Malcolm Gladwell describes this kind of moral licensing perfectly. A woman gets accepted into a man's world. She thinks somehow something has changed, but nothing has changed. Men pat themselves on the back and then slam the door shut again. What's worse is when that kind of moral licensing creates the conversation that begins, isn't it great that? Isn't it great that a woman could win this coveted award? Isn't it great that the women in the soap commercial look just like me? Isn't it great that pop music performances aren't limited to 20-year-olds? Those good deeds of inclusion mask the problematic bottom line that we keep giving the male gaze more than its pound of flesh, both literally and figuratively. I don't fault Serena Williams, after all, even though she held an 18-2 record against her biggest rival, Maria Sharapova. Williams still earned over $10 million less in endorsements to Sharapova. As tennis great Chris Evert said, the corporate world still loves the good-looking blonde girls. 4 months before the infamous cover shoot for Sportsperson of the Year, Eugenie Bouchard, described as a tall blonde Canadian who had yet to really distinguish herself in tennis, was named the world's most marketable athlete by Sports Pro magazine. By the time Serena had donned her black bodysuit and stilettos, the message was clear. The male gaze was a more powerful and bankable commodity than a Williams first serve. And therein lies the rub. How do you reclaim the gaze or live your life ignoring its presence? Not when you go to Lululemon and buy their running shorts called the Hottie Hot shorts. Not when you subscribe to one of the largest nutritional and wellness companies in the world called Beachbody. The gaze is ubiquitous. So even as I'm standing in front of my closet trying to pick out my outfit for today's talk or getting my hair highlighted and cut the week before, how much are the decisions I'm making because I think I look good or because I'm told I look good? And why am I more worried about my appearance than my words? The male gaze has won again. Thank you.